as we review the Mitsubishi Fuso starting grid, because Richo is in the box seat alongside Garth Tander. Now, a reminder that these starting positions on the Fuso grid are a combination of their results race 1 and the reverse grid race 2. Rick Kelly, Mark Winterbottom, and the Enforcer, the champion, alongside his teammate, who we must say put in a very strong performance in the second race this weekend.
Everybody that I spoke to in the paddock between races is talking about the reduced grip around this racetrack by comparison to last year and the previous year. And many of the engineers and drivers were talking about the fact that it was a difficult race, that last race too, trying to just get through to the end. Many changes made to the balance of cars for this third race.
Whilst there were some isolated incidents, on a whole, if you compare it to New Zealand, it was relatively clean, which is good for the teams, the mechanics, because they've had a tough time for the beginning of this season as we work our way all the way to the back. Behind the BOC boys, Todd Kelly. Boy, frustration is an understatement. And Marcus Marshall out of 31. Darryl?
It's interesting, Lee, to watch Stephen Richards bring the field around this time for the start of this race 3. He brought him around at a very slow pace down the back straightaway and was just warming his tyres up a little bit. The field really bunched up. So if that's a strategy of his, because when he was out in the pits after he stopped in race 2, he was quick straight up.
Same rules apply for this one. 58 laps. And on the combined points, Richards is the leader. Ready. Pretty even start from the front row. Scaife got away beautifully and gets the edge on Lowndes. It's Richards, Tander, side by side. Tander is squeezing Richards, but Richards got the preferred line. And Scaife pounces on the inside of Tander, but not close enough. Richards, Tander, Scaife, Lowndes, that's the 4.
Real nail-biter at the start. Approaching turn 1, Richards and Tander absolutely locked in combat round there, neither one of them wanting to blink. On board with Craig Lowndes, position 4, turn 6, Richards, Tander, Scaife, and Craig Lowndes.
Scaife and Lowndes tied on the points for third. Coming into this third and final race, Winterbottom looking at an option on Rick Kelly, not quite close enough. And Courtney defending from Greg Murphy. The WPS boys together, midfield. Tander on the inside of Richards, not quite there. Gives him a little nudge.
Between races 2 and 3, the Holden Racing team has tried to simulate this gear selection problem that's plagued Todd Kelly. They're not sure whether it's something in the way that Hulk Hogan Kelly is shifting, but this has never happened before. Same gearbox, but new shifter for this race for car 22. There's more to the Garth Tander's bungled pit stop story as well in race 2. He stalled on the way out, and the internal mechanism for the button in the rattle gun broke during the tyre change. So this is a surprise for the HSV Toll team, who are among the quickest teams in the pit stops. Russell Ingall opted not to make a roll centre change just before his pit stop. That was a good call, because the Stone brothers say it would have made his understeer worse as the race went on. Finally, too, watch for car 4 in this race, James Courtney. Word on the street is that they have a set of tyres for this car that have only done one qualifying run. He'll be a man on the march.
So far it's not working though. He's lost that position to Murphy.
Jason Wright, he complained of brake problems into 6 in the race 2 situation. I spoke to the team during the break. They said they've had to replace with that car going into the sand hard dampers, front dampers, uprights, radiator. They put a different master cylinder in that car, hoping that they checked on the data. And as far as there's an incident there,
there's problems up the front. Tander and Richards have come together. Tander was the loser there. He's lost 5 positions. Where's Richards in the mix? He's lost 2 positions. Someone else is out in the dirt. It's all happening race 3. The first 2 have been relatively quiet.
And Jason Wright made good that move on James Courtney, so something weird has occurred up there at turn 5. Winterbottom through on Kelly. Kelly's just battling a little bit with his tyre condition at the moment. He came on the radio and said these tyres are going to be a problem, so he'll probably want to peel off quickly and get the next tyre set on as soon as he can.
Tander tries to make an impression on Greg Murphy. Here's the Zinger replay. And Luff has gone wide in the Fujitsu Ford.
There was dirt on the road, I think, when Warren came back onto the racetrack, and when the lead group arrived next lap round, I suspect they found that dirt. Oh yeah, there it is. So that clearly caught the front runners, leaving Scaife in control. So Richards, oh, look at the amount of dirt on the front of that motor car. So when he's got a flat tyre in the front right-hand corner, so when he's gone round turn 5, it's just neatly deposited it. And when Tander and Richards got there, no grip.
Richards steadies in third though from Winterbottom, Kelly, Ingle, and this is Davison, Will Davison running wide. You saw why, because he was right in the middle of the sand, and that sent him out into more of it. And now that's Garth Tander.
Oh dear, so both Richards and Tander went well wide, just like we guessed, and no grip there at all, and off they went. And just an unfortunate penalty for being the first two people on the road to arrive at that problem.
Lowndes is intensifying the pressure on Scaife though. He's as close as he's been. This is for first. On board with Scaife.
The issue for both those boys now, for both Garth and Stephen, is what did they pick up in the tour off the racetrack. So how much sand and rubbish is in the front of those cars. And Rick Kelly's definitely going to pit early and get onto that next tyre set.
Look at the run from Mark Winterbottom. Third car in shot, the blue and white Ford Performance Racing Falcon. Another strong run, and he's starting to put the heavies on Stephen Richards. Rick Kelly, then Greg Murphy, then Russell Ingall, Tander and Bright, and Courtney. That's the 10.
0.6 of a second, Scaife to Lowndes. 58.8 for Scaife, 58.8 for Lowndes, and they're going to take Tander out of the queue now and put him onto the next tyre set because Matt Nilsson feels it's hurting him too much in that traffic.
It's a smart call. We'll be able to settle and get on with it from there. Meanwhile, Holden versus Ford here, Richards versus Winterbottom.
Jamie Whincup will come in this lap as well. I think a few of them are going to dive in here. Western horizon looks a bit dark, but I don't think there's any likelihood of any great change in the weather. The temperature's still up here. It's in the high 20s.
Lowndes looking for the lead. 12 times a race winner here at Barbagallo.
Keep pushing on.
Keep pushing on, the call from Campbell Little. Look at them dive for the pits. Lowndes' teammate, one of them, Whincup's in. One of the WPS Fords is in. One of the Tasman cars is in. There's a scramble. And Winterbottom from fourth. Done. His compulsory stop. And remember, same as race 2, it's a very large window between laps 5 and 40.
So Rick just had to wait there to slot into the traffic. Notice the car controller was looking for the light cues.
There was contact. There was contact too, Neil. Sorry, on the exit there between Rick Kelly and the Tasman car of Jason Richards. So it wasn't Richards' fault by the looks of it. Kelly was endeavouring to peel out into the lane and had been given the call so from his team boss, and there was a touch. So that may be something that they'll look at. Garth Tander also, just to further add to you talk about the sand being on the racing line before from Warren Luff. He said, I'm sorry guys on the radio before, I just understeered on the run up the hill.
What's going on here? The HRT Commodore Todd Kelly and Dean Canto. A little bit of shuffle out of my way. Here I come. The race 2 winner. Mixing it up with Kelly.
Fastest lap of the race so far, Garth Tander, 57.9. He's in 5th place. Here's James Courtney, 6th, right behind him. So James has got that spot back.
Order at the moment is Scaife, Lowndes, 1st and 2nd. Stephen Richards, Greg Murphy, Garth Tander. Courtney on screen, he's 6th. Then Bright, Johnson, McConville and Canto. That's the 10.
There's a fair bit of radio chat going on at the moment between Phil Keed and his driver, Jason Bright. He's saying, I'm just struggling under brakes again at the moment, guys. So perhaps this issue has not gone away. And Keed and Bright very early, before the race even started, he just reminded Jason, he said, listen, we're going to go long on this one. So they're going to adopt a strategy and take things a little longer.
Someone who's not going long is Stephen Richards. He's pulled himself out of that top order, and here he is. So they went long in the previous race. This is a short stop though, only 8 laps in the books.
Excellent stop for Perkins Motorsport. Jack Daniels Racing guys, they just processed that car well then.
Spoke with Joe Bremner, the team manager, and Larry Perkins, and they said with the previous race, I mean, they're thrilled with the result, as Richards comes out behind Winterbottom, so he's lost a spot. If you remember, these two were tangling earlier, and Winterbottom was behind Stephen. So that's handiwork from FPR, and it shows you how much ground Winterbottom's made up, because that stop from the Jack Daniels boys was slick.
They've dropped back into 18th and 19th. Winterbottom's actually done the quickest lap of the race so far, 57.5, so he's got genuine pace.
Getting back to that story, Bremner and Perkins were saying we were monitoring how fast Stephen was in comparison to Scaife and co. every single lap, and the more he was faster than them, the longer they kept him out. Why not?
And Lee, the other thing to add to that as well, their selection of when to pit and maximising the minimal cars in pit lane has been perfect on each occasion. Races 2 and 3, Stephen Richards has been in the lane. There hasn't been another car in sight, so it's been nice and clear for them.
And I reckon that's been a big part of the outcome for them so far this weekend. They're actually now looking at the brake issue with the front of Jason's car here. They just really had him in just the right place at just the right time in race 2, Stephen Richards, and it worked well. The car was working well, was able to look after its tyres. In fact, a few people in the paddock were suggesting maybe he'd used more of his rubber than he might have needed to just for that race 2 result. But Barry Ryan and Stevie said, no, we're in really good shape for race 3. Plenty of rubber.
Yeah, they've kept the best black stuff for this race.
Okay, pit lane is clear, mate. Once the car drops, you're free to go.
Let's monitor this. How did the 888 team do?
Okay, mate, where you go? Pit lane's clear. Watch your speed.
I understand that Rick Kelly is going to get a black flag for a pit lane infringement in car 15.
Lowndes pops out behind Winterbottom, in between he and Richards. So this is going very well for Mark Winterbottom.
Let's just see how we go.
Very, very well. There's a Fujitsu Ford up ahead, whether it's Luff or Ricky Dello. Darryl.
As Rusty reported, with Jason Bright complaining about brakes again when he's having a battle with James Courtney. During that stop, they spent quite some time in the pits here, but doing nothing to do with the brakes, but they had to tape on the whole front splitter of that car. It was coming loose.
Scaife is in pit lane as well. Garth Tander inherits the lead of this race. So Scaife's watched Lowndes come in. Meanwhile, watch the 5 Ford of Winterbottom going from strength to strength, and Scaife is out. Now, watch in comparison. Here comes Winterbottom down the front straight. He's been setting fast lap after fast lap, but Scaife should beat him, and he does, easily. But Winterbottom is up at speed. And Murphy comes out to join the queue. This is going to be a great finish. You can see it shaping up. And such a long way to go. Now, can Winterbottom eat into that gap that Scaife has got? He's got Winterbottom, Lowndes and co. trying to eat into that margin. Meanwhile, these drivers yet to pit. Garth Tander, who is the race leader, James Courtney, Cam McConville, Paul Radisich, John Bow and Tony Ricciardello. And then you get Scaife, 7th in the order, who has completed his compulsory stop. Got to be impressed by the pace of Winterbottom. He's left Lowndes behind.
57.8 the last lap for Garth Tander. He's got 4.2 seconds in hand over James Courtney. Courtney's now just peeled in for his compulsory stop.
They're on standby, Neil, and remember, we detailed earlier in the race, he has a set of tyres for this one that have only done one qualifying run, so Stone Brothers have managed this very, very well. And I can tell you also that young Matt Nilsson, who looks after Garth Tander, is really urging his driver on at the moment, and they're lapping, Tander has been lapping at about half a second or just under that, quicker than his nearest rival at the moment. He's in the 57s. They're trying to make a break, trying to get some of that time back from that earlier off.
Well, he's got 7 seconds over Cameron McConville.
Keep pushing, GT. We'll stop soon. Keep pushing. It's going to be close.
57.8 that lap for Garth. Last lap was 57, sorry, 58.
Clear track in front and behind for Tander, and that's when you need to capitalise.
Condell's pitting now as well. Yes, here he is.
Go.
Only 3 cars left that haven't pitted. Tander, Radicic, Bow. Then you get the Scaife.
So no one's running terribly long on their first tyre set in this one. So it seems. We know from eavesdropping on the radio that Tander will be in the not too distant future.
Seeing a replay of 2 of the younger drivers in the field. Paul Dumbrell, Dean Canto coming together.
Kind of worked out. I was worried where Dean was going to pop out then when he was going backwards at turn 1.
What's your rough estimate at the duration to come in and perform a pit stop?
I've got a better than rough estimate if I can find the right bit of paper here for you.
I've never seen you move so fast.
Just went into qualifying mode then, didn't I?
Because I'm trying to, the reason I ask, mate, is I'm trying to do a rough calculation of how much time this man has up his sleeve in comparison to where Scaife is.
Well, if you use averages, it's probably 30 seconds in round terms, but it's about 24 seconds of transit time, and then the actual rattle of the wheels on and off, and then the manoeuvring in and out. So call it 30 seconds for maths. Does that help?
Not close enough. Not far enough away, I should say. It'll be very close. As you heard his race engineer say, keep pushing GT. They're coming, and here they are over the hill.
Well, McConville's stop was a little slow. They were a little slow in the left rear with that car. But I noticed before this race, Neil, I tried to go through most of the cars
Come on, have a
up and
breathe,
down
have a
pit
think
lane,
about
and
it.
a lot of them were starting with basically new tyres on the front of those cars. They all looked like they were in fantastic condition, but a lot of them running tyres maybe that ran in race 2 or 1 on the rear.
Tander's going to come in this lap. 14.9 seconds over Radicic.
It's got about 25 seconds between he and Scaife. So let's see, here we go. We'll put the guesswork out of the window. This will be factual.
Check. Nice check.
Never been greater pressure on the Toll HSV boys.
Turn it. Tap to 2, mate.
There have been a few
Car
hiccups.
drops, you should be clear to go,
This
mate.
needs to be perfect.
So just rattle through the order of proceedings. Turn the CPS green light off.
Stop on me.
Air jack tap to 2, meaning they only intend changing the 2 rears. Big pile of sand drops out.
Go.
Scaife's coming. Scaife's coming. Where is he? This will be tight. Scaife's got it easily. Winterbottom's got it easily. Lowndes has got it easily. He pops back out in 5th. Yes. So he's in the train. Now the real work begins.
Radicic and Bow yet to stop. When they do, that will leave Scaife, Winterbottom, Lowndes, Richards, Tander, Murphy, Ingle, Courtney. Look at the amount of dirt that ended up at the top of the road there at 5. No wonder they all speared off. Oh, problems for Max Wilson. Front left has parted company.
Okay, Max, looks like a wheel bearing. Just check that wheel.
Wow, that's a fantastic diagnosis from afar.
And he's at the worst possible
Good,
place.
bring to the pit.
He's right down in what they call the basin, which is cold corner. And he's got to try and get it round here, get up the hill,
Should
down,
I stop or should I try bring to the pit?
and into the pits.
Yep.
You can probably get it home. You just have to be very
Try to
careful.
bring to the pit. Yes, Max, bring it in. Try and bring it in.
Limping back to the pits.
It's some sort of fundamental failure of the front left suspension or hub. Right in the braking zone down here for turn 7, and the trick for Max here is going to be to negotiate the right-hander and then the little chicane into the pit lane.
Broad-eye P. Falco. Mark Winterbottom is within half a second of Mark Scaife. He's not letting him get away. And look in the background, Richards defending from Tander. Tander's on the grass, but forces his way through. He wants a taste at the top, Garth Tander. This is his home event. Mum, Dad, his younger brother are here, and a bunch of friends. He grew up down in the Fremantle area and would love to at least get a race win.
Of the top 10 or so cars, the fastest fellas at the moment, Craig Lowndes 57.9, Courtney 57.9, 57.8 for Todd Kelly.
Points on your screen were after race 2, championship-wise, not round-wise. And we'll shuffle all that out for you when we get near the end of this one. Not quite halfway there yet. There's still plenty of motor racing to come at Barbagallo. And everyone...
Okay, this position's still fine for the round win, Richo. We're still way ahead.
So they're giving information to Richo so that he manages his championship scenario, and that's the important thing for these guys. Clearly at the moment, winning this motor race is going to be a tough task, so the default position after that is to make sure that you know where you're at in the point score for the day, and you understand that you're contributing to your championship outcome, and that's exactly what the Perkins crew are passing on to Stephen at the moment.
Well, the scenario for Stephen Richards is around about, if he finishes 6th or better, he will still win the round. He's in 5th at the moment. That is 6th place Greg Murphy for Super Cheap Auto Racing. And Tander's on a mission. Look at the gap he's created.
It goes to show, Lee, what happens when you drop track position, which was neither Garth nor Steve's fault. They just happened to be in the wrong spot at the wrong time at the top of the hill. You can't give drivers and teams of the calibre of the people in front any kind of tiny advantage, even if it's only a few seconds, because it takes 30, 40 minutes to undo the damage that's done. They may claw back, maybe, if their cars and their tyre condition are good enough.
New fastest lap from Garth Tander, 57.33.
Whoa,
it's Jamie
that's
Whincup pushing the issue with Jason Bargwanna, but Tander is the man. He is flying.
That's quick. That's way out of the box compared to everybody else around him.
Say there could be a bit of anger there as well.
I'm sure he's frustrated, although he sounds pretty soothed on the radio at the moment, so I think he's just got the head down.
Well, when we arrived earlier in the week, he was fastest. He was very impressive in practice. He was very impressive in qualifying. Scaife pipped him in the top 10, but I think Garth came here with his tail in the air thinking that this could be his round. He came into this race well in the points, second in the round points as Whincup rather on the inside of Bargwanna. They rub a little, not too much, and Jamie should hold on to that. And McConville looking for a passage through as well.
And he'll probably be okay if he stays in that position, because there'll just be metal in the way. Yep, and he's got through.
3 guys all grouped together. Tander is the man of the moment.
Very quick, 58 even that lap, but he did a 57.2 just a couple of laps ago.
When you get a chance, Craig.
He's got real pace in this car, but it's going to be difficult now to use it as he comes onto the back of this train. One of the things that was really fascinating about that rearward shot is that in the areas of high speed, I'm surprised by how much vibration and movement there is in the rear wing and the actual boot lid itself. And I'm sure that Triple Eight engineering guys would like to have a look at that when because you don't get to see the cars doing what they do dynamically that often. Down here where there's big air pressure on it, look at the amount of movement in that rear wing, and that's not good. That's a lot of movement in the main element there, and that little gurney flap, which is the 90-degree right angle return that you can see. A lot of movement.
So the top 4 are bunched nicely together. Nothing between them. Scaife, Winterbottom, Lowndes, Tander. Here they are.
Well, Max, I guess that's disappointing. It looks like you've broken the bottom pin on the left front upright.
Yeah, it was disappointing. We were running pretty good, and the car in the third race had a good pace. We saved the best tires for the last race, and I think we could finish well inside the top 10, which was our target for the weekend. But at least we showed again, once again, a good pace, the car and the team worked very good, and hopefully the next race is gonna finish a little bit better again.
it's encouraging. And how are you enjoying your time here so far? Things are going better.
Yeah, it's going pretty good. We started this year with not exactly knowing what to expect for this year, and so far being on the pace and pretty much all the races we've been, we've been in the top 10. I mean, sometimes we didn't finish the race, but when the car broke down, we're in the top 10, which show everybody that we have a good pace, and so hopefully we're gonna work a little bit in the car to make it more reliable. And there are a lot of races to go still, so hopefully we're gonna have some good finishes between now and the end of the year.
Thanks, Max, and let's hope that carries on to Winton.
Thank you very much.
He said he didn't know what to expect coming into the year. He's had 3 top 10 race results. That's not a bad performance. Meanwhile, speaking of performance, Todd Kelly has come from 31st and dead last to 9th. What a drive.
This is almost a carbon copy of the final race in New Zealand only a few weeks ago. Scaife, Winterbottom, Lowndes, the big pressure at the front of the field. And Tander still very close to the back of Lowndes, but this is where it gets hard. Even when we saw the amount of raw speed that Garth had, you get tangled up underneath another car and it's difficult to use. There's Todd. We've just detailed his position. He's behind James Courtney, in front of Jason Richards. There's the margins. Oh, what's going on here with Courtney? And that looks like it's a major drama for him. Very disappointing. He's running 8th.
Okay, mate.
Oh dear, so he's pulled it off the race line. Smart thinking for James. And that's disappointing because this looked like it was shaping up as a better weekend for him. Oh, look at this. Stephen Johnson coming from the wrong side of the ripple strip onto the pit straight in traffic.
He's been watching Luffy. Gave us some entertainment out there before.
There's probably a little bit of rubbish on the road, the oil down there from James. Drivers are now just being warned by various crew chiefs and engineers that they can expect problems in the final corner.
Stone Brothers camp, 1 car left from 2. That's Russell Ingall, and we've got a full course caution. Safety car has been deployed, and Courtney is getting out of harm's way and safely into pit lane. It's a shame. He's had a solid weekend. Probably his best overall weekend since joining the V8 Supercar ranks.
He's been pacing with Russell Ingall this weekend, and neither of the cars have been absolutely on the money. But let's see if we can find out a bit more with Darryl.
James, it's been an encouraging weekend and the pace has been pretty good so far, but this is disappointing.
Yeah, it's very upsetting. We didn't have a very good qualifying, but we've had 2 good races yesterday and today, and it's just unfortunate it turned out like this. We're looking like we're going to get a good amount of points in the bag, and it's the last thing we needed.
Was there any temperature issue? Was there any warning before it went?
No, it was going great. I was keeping up with all the other guys, and I think maybe even catching Russell a little bit, and then just over the top, it just let go. So.
How's life here now? Is it starting to feel a little more relaxed and settling in now? You're getting to race with these guys?
Yeah, it's starting to get a bit easier, and you're knowing everyone, and I'm starting to get a bit more familiar with the car. So then it makes learning the circuits a lot easier. So it's all getting a bit easier.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
Yeah, and let's not forget the fact that Marcus Ambrose had a bit of a bumpy ride when he first came into the V8 Supercar Championship Series. So we cut James a bit of slack, give him a bit of time, and I know that Stone Brothers are pleased that things are heading in the right direction. Very productive test recently for that team and James Courtney in one of his rookie test days where he did 151 laps at Queensland Raceway.
Woohoo. It's a bit willing down at turn 1 here. Stephen Johnson with Jason Barguana, Paul Morris in behind. Stephen again, this time at turn 7. And this is where he ended up just getting crossed up and running out the other side of the ripple strip. There you go, the long way round and back in. And no doubt due to a little bit of the oil that was left down there by this car, the Geldwen Stone Brothers Racing entry being taken back into pit lane. We're under the control of the safety car. Scaife is the leader.
The pressure's on, they're nose to tail. And we're in the latter half of this final race of the weekend. Scaife is still the man they're all chasing. Winterbottom in car 5 for Ford Performance Racing. Lowndes, Tander, Richards, Murphy, Ingall. And with a damaged HRT Commodore, Todd Kelly. Lowndes thinks about it on Winterbottom.
And as they all crisscross each other and change lines, it gives other drivers behind the incentive to look at alternative lines as well. And this is where sometimes problems can unfold. Side by side, and Tander down the inside into turn 7 and gets him.
Listen to the crowd. They know their boy. And they're cheering for him. Whoa! What a wild ride. That was close. That was scary. And second point of contact. Murphy's gone. Talk about get a little crazy. That was heavy stuff. Zinger replay. Watching from Richards. Lowndes up ahead. Tander in front of him.
Pretty wild view from Stephen Richards' car, and he got monstered in that process as well. That's Todd Kelly sneaking through. And here we go. There's the incident down at turn 1. That was Greg Murphy disappearing out to the left.
This will give us a better shot.
Oh, whoa. That could be very nasty if you got crossed up the wrong way across that ripple strip.
And look at Ingle pounce. Ingle was ready to go.
Greg holds onto it, winds in the opposite lock. So lucky not to be trapped down there in the sand. Meantime, breathe, the escape. Half a second up on Winterbottom. Lowndes is third. Ingle's fourth. Kelly is fifth. And the stewards will be busy.
And that is such a blow for the HSV dealer team and for Garth Tander. Just moments prior to that incident for Tander, I had spoken to young Matthew Nilsson, and in that safety car period, he said, look, it gave the rear tyres a chance to cool off. That bank or block of 57-second laps that they were doing, he was confident if they got some clear air, he could replicate that again. And boy, on that restart, was he demonstrating the pace of that car.
Here comes Kelly, having a look now at Ingle for 7. Thinks about it, can't get it done. Tander down the inside on Jason Richards, gets it done.
There's unfinished business there. Watch that toll car. He's not done with yet. Scaife, Winterbottom, Lowndes, Ingle, Todd Kelly, Stephen Richards rather. Jason Richards on the inside of Rick Kelly, and Whincup pushes through.
Tander drops a couple of spots there. Richards crisscrossed him, and then that rock puts him for turn 1.
Cam McConville, strong run. He's inside the 10. Tander on a push. Well, what about Todd Kelly, though? 31st to 5th. His forward surge continues.
His exits bring him a little closer to the back of Russell out of turn 6 here. He'll only need a couple of kilometres an hour, and that'll put him in shape down here under brakes for turn 6. No, 7, I should say. We're reaching that stage of the weekend where people are starting to slide around late in the third race.
Well, I've mentioned it, Neil. You've mentioned it. We've said the word late, latter half. Still a good 20 laps to go. There is still a lot of racing to come.
0.7 of a second for Mark Scaife over Mark Winterbottom. 57.9. 58 even for Winterbottom. 57.9 Lowndes. 8.2 for Ingle. 8.1 for Kelly. Russell's looking just a little vulnerable at the moment. Tough race for both Stephen Richards and Garth Tander. Now Kelly tries to feint to the left side of the road. Does that position him better? Still can't quite get under there. Ingle braking extremely deep into 7. He knows that that's a place where he could be attacked. The fastest way to deal with it is on the race line and braking at the absolute maximum down there. And the minute you go too defensive at 7, that's when the crisscross manoeuvres happen down pit straight. Russell's a wake-up. He's done plenty of it before.
Tander got a spot back there on Whincup. He now moves up to 8th. Jason Richards is the next one on his list. Gaps remain the same up front. Scaife's still got about 7-8 tenths of a second over Mark Winterbottom. The FPR man hasn't been able to do anything about Scaife just yet. There's only 1.5 seconds gapping Scaife back to Lowndes. There it is.
And Greg Murphy fans be curious to know where he's dropped back into the order. 24th position after touring the sand down there.
racing in this third and final one. We go on board with Ingle. Let's enjoy the ride for a moment. Kelly on Ingle. Gotcha. He worked away at that. He chipped away at that for 3 or 4 laps. And Todd Kelly gets there. Russell switches back. He wants the inside run down into 1, but he's not there. So Todd Kelly has 3 more drivers on his list to complete a last to first performance. And around this track, under these circumstances, that is quite remarkable.
Craig Lowndes just recorded a 57.7 that lap, so he's got terrific pace relative to those around him. It's about 2 or 3 tenths quicker than the couple of cars in front. So I expect that margin will close up a little. It'll all just be slowly tweaking the brake bias controls in the car, taking a little more bias to the front. Someone just pinching a brake.
Tander on Richards. Ticks another one off the list. He's good down into the final turn.
Good job, GT. Keep plugging away, mate.
Encouragement from his team, and rightly so.
And the cars that are working well in the right setup frame. Let's have a look here. We're on board with Greg Murphy. And makes contact here with Brad Jones down at turn 6. No great damage done, they all get out of it. Live to fight another day. They are down at the moment. Greg's 25th, Brad's 23rd, Dean Canto's in between them now.
Mate, I've got to ask you the question, because I'm sure we're all sitting here thinking about it. Do you see anything coming Lowndes' way for those 2 incidents with Tander and Murphy?
Hard to say until you have more facts at your fingertips.
Have a breathe,
really.
okay, have a think about your bars.
The gap has come down to just 8 tenths of a second, first to third. It was 1.8 seconds not long ago. Lowndes is joining these 2. And Winterbottom is all over Scaife.
.2 of a second, that margin for Scaife last time through, 58.3. He's struggling. 58.1 Winterbottom, and Lowndes is still in the 57s. He's going to be all over this in a moment. Look how gentle Mark has to be with that throttle application coming out of turn 6. Takes forever to get to 100% throttle there. Little tap of the brake pedal just to make sure that he's got pressure and that the pistons in the brake caliper, and just squeeze those pads right up next to the brake rotor, ready for a nice firm brake pedal when you need it. You get a little bit of vibration sometimes. It only takes a thousandth of an inch or a few of those of walk or movement or vibration in the front rotor, and it rattles the pistons back in the brake caliper. It's called knock-off, and when you put your foot on the brake pedal and you don't quite get the full effect of the front brakes, it's equivalent to having more rear brake in the car. So you just make sure that you've got brake pressure before you grab that brake pedal. Otherwise you'll roar up to your normal braking point, jump on the brake pedal, too much rear brake, it locks the rears and you have a half lose, or off the road you go.
Paul Morris, Marcus Marshall, Jason Bargwanna. Bargwanna is in 12th at the moment. And the Zinger replay shows us Stephen Johnson sneaking through on the inside, Paul Dumbrell sneaking through, and Paul Morris. Ooh. Whoa, talk about wheelie time. And he'll straighten him up. He'll help straighten him up. And away they go again.
Interlocking wheels was the issue there, front right. Left front on the respective cars. It's on again.
Murphy coming through though, after being in the sand trap outside turn 1. Hasn't been able to get by Brad Jones just yet, but doing the best he can.
And And I think Paul Morris coming into the pit lane after that contact down there at 1.
Tander's with Richards. Remember, we said he's ticking them off his list. He's got 2 here right in front, Richards and Ingle.
Also, you may recall in race 2, we had that shot of Craig Lowndes coming out of the pit lane and tangling up with Paul Morris. I spoke to Paul about it. He said they had an airbox fire, and all the data and the sensors showed that they had massive underbonnet temperature at the time, and the engine had basically flamed out. But when Craig was pushing him, he was able to refire it, draws the flame down through the trumpets, and away he went. That was the reason.
Gotcha, Tander on the inside of Richards. How many times will we see this today? Good work, Garth Tander. He's having to do it the hard way.
Mate, keep it cool.
Lee, just to expand on your question you asked before there about whether any incidents that have unfolded so far in this race will be looked into. The officials here in pit lane wouldn't get down to specifics in terms of drivers, etc., but they say there are some matters under investigation and they will be looked at post-race.
Well, I've found a guy down here in pit lane that's a bit bored, Glenn Seaton. Glenn, probably you're one of the best views we can get as well on that incident with Craig and the jostle out of the last turn. What do you think?
Well, it's hard to see, but Craig looked like going into it, Richo's just given him a little touch going in, which has maybe forced him onto Garth, which has sent Garth wide. So it's a really hard one until you take the in-car out of all 3 cars. It's a hard one to tell, but that's what it looked like from where I was.
Mark Winterbottom's doing a pretty good job here, standing on the sidelines watching him as well.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and geez, their pit stops have been awesome. It's put him in a really good spot.
Thanks, Glenn.
Thanks.
And Glenn's just taken on a roll as a... Oh, and Winterbottom's run wide at turn 1. Unfortunate for Mark, out of second position at just the wrong time, and now could be vulnerable to Todd Kelly.
No worries there, we'll just stick with it.
The remark I was about to make was that Glenn's just accepted a role as a Formula Ford ambassador or mentor for the category for some of the younger drivers.
And what a great person and driver for those young kids to look up to. And of course, we haven't seen the last of Glenn Seaton. We will see him at Sandown and Bathurst in the Enduros. Meanwhile, Lowndes has been elevated to second and chases down his old foe.
He's got a lot of pace. And he's got quite a few laps up his sleeve. Bradley Jones tours the sand. And I think this is down at turn 7. Gets out the other side though. Now here's what happened down at turn 1 before. Seeing a replay shows that I think Mark just simply got in there a little quick, couldn't pull it up, ran wide, and once you're on the outside of the corner down there, there's no way that you can get the car to pull up in time, so he's just run wide. In trouble here. In trouble also for Mark Scaife because Lowndes is coming quickly.
Down into cold corner. And then the big uphill climb. The in-car cameras give you possibly the best view of it. The exterior cameras don't do this justice. This is quite a steep climb. All you see is sky when they crest, and then this very aggressive downhill run toward the pit in.
See them, both cars spitting at the exhaust as they do the shift from 5th to 6th very briefly.
Indigo, mate, nice and clever, nice and smooth. He's struggling under brakes by the looks of things.
And Mark Scaife is having to pull the car up more to slow it down in the mid-corner at the moment. He hasn't quite got the mid-corner pace that Craig Lowndes has got. He was very unhappy with the car in race 2. They changed it overnight. Little issue here on the exit of turn 7. Interesting because Craig's got more pace, but it's very difficult to apply it here when there's another car in the way in certain spots. And for example, Mark slows his car down a lot more down here in the mid-corner at 6, but he drives it out squarer than Craig, who a couple of laps earlier was really sliding out of turn 6, and that was hurting him. That meant that he couldn't have a lunge under brakes down here. He's come out cleaner this time, but still not quite close enough to threaten.
Campbell Little, Roland Dane, watching intently their man behind the wheel.
Craig always has great strength from this point here, which is where you turn in. The turn into apex, he always carries a lot of speed. Often his weakness is from apex to exit, where he'll tend to lose a little bit of time. Doesn't show up so much at turn 1. You see it more evident at turn 6 and 7. Craig also tends to turn in a little earlier, a little shallower than Mark.
You've raced here, you've crashed here, you've done well here. Where are you going to do it? Where's he going to get him?
Well, if he needs to get a good run out of here, but see what happens is Mark slows him up in the middle of the corner, and that throws Craig wide and then slower onto the throttle. If he's going to do it, it'll happen down here at turn 7.
Scaife centres his car on the track just to make life a little more difficult for Lowndes as he closes the gap yet again, and laps running out. Just half a dozen left. The HRT men on the wall. This race win still won't be enough to get Scaife the round win if Stephen Richards stays where he is in 7th place.
Craig's just starting to talk to Campbell about, are they looking at this in terms of blocking, and they say back to him, mate, you're just going to have to be clever, you just have to play it calm. At the moment, Mark's just running on the race line, but he is cagily positioning the car down here at 6 to make sure that Craig has to work for it. See that? And he knows Craig as well as anybody in the paddock. They worked together for years at HRT. They looked at each other's data, they know each other's styles, they go about their motor racing in a very different manner. They require different things of their cars, but the end result is that they often end up racing like this nose to tail. Always a tremendous display from both these drivers.
5 to go is the call, and Tander is starting to bridge the gap between he and Todd Kelly. Here's Russell Ingall, Stephen Richards in the gap to Jason Richards, Whincup, McConville, Johnson, and then Paul Dumbrell, who Larry Perkins was very pleased with this weekend, and Steve Owens having a great run. That puts him in 13th position.
Oscar Fiorinotto's doing a little bit of consulting work with them and the Autobahn team this weekend, helping out. Here it is again, the battle for the lead. Exiting turn 6. See where Craig goes sideways on the exit there? That's what hurts him. That momentary, tiny little slide just puts that margin between the two cars, and then he can't attack down here under brakes. Mark will try and keep that song playing until the end of the race, and Craig will be sitting there trying to frustratingly think his way through, now how can I change what I'm doing here, or how can I demand something different of my car to alter it?
If they stay as they are, Stephen Richards will win the round, and there hasn't been back-to-back round winners since this man here, Lowndes, in 99-2000.
Jason Bright has got a problem, and he's just been instructed by Phil Key to cut the engine. So wherever he may be around the circuit at the moment, it's a bit terminal. Bit of a margin starting to open up here now. It was 0.5 of a second last lap. So is Craig resting the tyres for
one last lunge?
A little lunge at the end, yeah. And here's Jason Bright coasting to a stop in the Cat Ford, unfortunately.
That will hurt Bright because his teammate, his new teammate, Mark Winterbottom, has had another brilliant drive and remains in 3rd place behind Lowndes, ahead of Todd Kelly. What's the split this time? Has Lowndes brought it back up?
Stay off those curbs.
Still half a second between Scaife and Lowndes. Running out of laps.
0.5 of a second. 58.0 for Scaife. 58.1 for Lowndes. 58.4 Winterbottom. 8.1 Kelly. Great comeback for Todd Kelly into 4th. Bit unfortunate, Mark Winterbottom, because he looked like he had second, nicely stitched up there at one point, but slid wide, but still hanging in there. It looks like being another excellent round result for him.
It looks like being an excellent round result for Mark, but unfortunately for Jason Bright, they feel that this car has dropped onto 7 cylinders. That's the word from Jason, unfortunately.
Yeah, I can hear it in the background. It's not far from our commentary box, and it does not sound healthy at the moment. So what has Craig got? Is there anything left? See that remarkable pace that he has in terms of turn-in? Throws the car towards the apex, closes down the gap, but he hasn't quite got the drive off the other side to match it at the moment.
Final couple of laps.
In the meantime, Stephen Richards is 7th, but he will win today's round if things stay as they are. They sent Bright back out just to get points, and that's critical. He'll be classified as a finisher, and that will still give him a little fistful of points. And they, at this stage, know that the engine's damaged anyway, so they'll just finish it off.
And if Richards remains where he is, as Lowndes turns it up now.
Schaefer's a little more patient on the throttle. We talked about this in race 1. Mark comes out shallower. He keeps a more even load spread on the rear tyres. He's a little more vulnerable this time, but that probably keeps things alive for him in the left rear tyre. He's only got to do it one more time. Tom Walkinshaw watches on.
Is Lowndes going to throw it all at Scaife now? This is it. 2.4 kilometres left to do the business. To steal the race win.
Last lap, mate, last
and some
lap.
championship points away from Mark Scaife. Richards is on his way to be our third different winner in as many rounds. Scaife won the opening race.
This is the critical corner. Oh, Lowndes just got on the ripple strip. That's all over. He got on the ripple strip at turn 5 and he got sideways. He picked it up on the inside, it bounced and threw him wide onto the apron on the exit of 5. It's all over. He doesn't get a run at him down here in turn 6 or 7.
Scaife will make it 2 from 3 in a tremendous display. He was our Pukekohe round winner. He will be the winner of race 3 here in WA. Scaife has done it again. Another win in the books.
Great job, Scaife.
But another round win eludes him. The round winner is coming on
turned
to
out
the
to be all
straight.
about track position.
Stephen Richards, back-to-back round wins.
Yeah, well done, Richard. Good job, mate.
And his first championship round win in Jack Daniels Racing colours. Many people pleased up and down pit lane. There were some incidents in that race that may infuriate them. But that's the victorious team. Joe Bremner and his men. Larry Perkins, guys.
In the championship, I think they're 4 points behind Tander and about 15
That's an excellent performance from those fellas. Quite achievers in race 3. All the good work was done in all 3 races, but especially in races 1 and 2.
And Mark Scaife, 2 from 3.
Pretty good.
Lowndes describing that one as a little ugly.
Getting a bit frustrated, but mate, they got some horsepower in a straight line. Oh yeah!
But a pretty decent result. Lowndes, Scaife, Winterbottom.
And Jason Bright got it across the line. 28th position, the last runner. That gives him some points. And he just parks it off to the side and walks home.
Let's check the VB scoreboard. We know our top 3. And let's not forget Todd Kelly came from 31st to 4th. And Tander, I imagine he'll be a little hot right now. Ingle, more valuable championship points for the defending number 1. Stephen Richards, our round winner, ahead of his Kiwi mate, Jason Richards. And that'll be a pleasing end of the weekend, actually, considering he started way down in 27th at weekend start. So to finish up inside the top 10 will be good. And Whincup and Johnson rounding out the top 10. When we come back after this short break, we'll have interviews, points, and wrap it all up.
Well, what a classic fight it was toward the end of that final race. You and your former teammate were really going at it, weren't you?
We were. I guess we're on tenterhooks. You know, I don't think he had anything left. I definitely didn't have any left. I made a mistake on that last lap up over the crest, but look, I gave it my all. I knew there was a lot more laps to go when I first got to him, but just try to be patient, keep the car good, keep the tyres good, but look, that's the way it goes.
It's a good recovery from you when you consider the dramas in terms of leaving pit lane in race 2, and you didn't feel that the strategy, you and Campbell Little, didn't feel it was quite right for race 2.
No, it wasn't. We didn't definitely benefit for that. And look, we tried hard. Reverse grid, it was pretty surprising that there wasn't a safety car throughout race 1, race 2. There was in race 1, but only a minor one, and delayed us by 2 laps, and we got going again. So the whole weekend has been great by all the drivers. Scaife, put up a good fight. Now, guys did a tremendous job. And before you cut me off, hello, Mum and and Bernie. Happy Mother's Day.
He's always scoring the points, and you got plenty of those today. Well done.
Thank you.
Well, Mark, it's interesting and it's difficult. I know you look a little bit disappointed because you're a racer and you want to win all the time, but still good points for the championship.
Oh, look, it was a great result for us, to win 2 races from the weekend. We changed the car for the reverse grid race today, thinking that we could make it be a better overtaking car. And it didn't flow very well, Darryl. I couldn't keep the mid-corner speed up, and we also used our old tyres then, so we wanted to live for the last race. So the combination of all that didn't really bode well for our best finish for the day. I mean, 4 points away from around when you're not too far away. It's a good result for the guys, and a great race with Lownsy. I mean, we battled as hard as you can possibly battle there. It's great.
You're often the next round at Winton, it's your test track, but I know that's not really a big advantage these days, but it must be nice to go there.
Yeah, I mean, we know it pretty well. It's a circuit that can throw up everything and has done over the years. So, I'm not going there thinking, hey, because it's our test track, we've half the field's test track actually. So it's not a massive advantage for us, but it'll be a good run then, there's no doubt.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom.
Well, the men in black are here, and they're here supporting Stephen Richards for the second year in a row. You've taken out this round. What is it with you in this place?
Yeah, we seem to have a good handle on the place. It's the weekend's gone really well, but I've got to say, all thanks to the Jack Daniels guys for that second race. That strategy just really helped us out, because we actually tuned to do a bit of a standstill in the last one, which was a bit of a drama.
Tell me about the second race a little more, because a few people up and down pit lane wondered whether you'd used your best set of rubber, but you deny that, don't you?
No, we had a great set of tyres for the last race, so that was just purely strategy. We had a really good car, and unfortunately we made a change to it in that last one, and it was definitely a bit of a handful. So we're absolutely wrapped for Jack Daniels and Holt and all the guys, and full credit to them, because it was a strategy that got us a win.
Stephen Richards, the king of Barbagallo, once again. Go and celebrate. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Just want to say Happy Mother's Day, Mum and Ange. Good on you.